In this lesson, you will be introduced to the history of Java. You will learn the differences between Java and JavaScript and how to implement JavaScript in your HTML documents. This topic is not intended as comprehensive instruction in JavaScript. It is only intended to acquaint you with some of the potential of JavaScript. The name Java stands for the programming language developed by Sun Microsystems that is used to create executable content or applications that can be distributed through networks. To the average World Wide Web user, Java is used to create better animations than have been previously available. More advanced users know that Java can be used to create a level of interactivity that often exceeds what has been available through forms and CGI, Common Gateway Interface, applications, but without the need for interaction with the server as Java is interpreted by the browser, client. Those most familiar with Java know that entire applications can be built from ordering systems to customized web browsers. In fact, the use of Java is not restricted to the World Wide Web, as applications can be written for many environments, just as with any programming language. Java began with a team of Sun Microsystems programmers who wanted to create intelligent home electronic products in 1991. The goal was to create programming code that could run on any CPU, central processor unit, like those made by Intel or Motorola. These developers started with the C++ language. C++ could not solve all their problems, so they began to create a new language, which they first named O. By 1992, they had used this language to create a smart remote control device. A bid to Time Warner to include this as part of a new television set-top box failed, and the project languished without a purpose. In mid-1994, the explosion of the World Wide Web opened new doors for cross-platform tools. The language was renamed, and a web browser was built entirely in Java. Sun formally announced Java in May of 1995. At the same time, Netscape announced its intent to incorporate Java into its web browsers. JavaScript was created by Netscape and Sun to enable enhancement of the HTML environment and implementation of some basic functions by non-programmers. First introduced as LiveScript, this authoring or scripting tool is now called JavaScript. JavaScript goes beyond the capabilities of HTML and can replace CGI programs which require interaction with a server. JavaScript is not Java-like. Java can be used in many applications and has no necessary connection to the World Wide Web or the Internet. JavaScript provides extension and enhancement to web pages and therefore requires a web browser. JavaScript has no application outside of the World Wide Web. The renaming of LiveScript to JavaScript was merely a marketing ploy to take advantage of the media attention Java was drawing at the time. As the browser makers rushed to add this exciting new capability, differences arose in the features and syntax of the language itself. In an effort to create and maintain a JavaScript standard, the language was turned over to the European Computer Manufacturers Association, ECMA, and ECMA script became the standard for JavaScript. ECMA is an international Europe-based industry association founded in 1961 and dedicated to the standardization of information and communication systems. This association was formed for the purpose of defining and maintaining standards for computer hardware and software to promote interoperability in the industry. This ECMA standard is based on several originating technologies, the most well-known being JavaScript, Netscape Communications, and JScript, Microsoft Corporation. Though recent standards still use the JavaScript name in popular media, the proper name is ECMA script. The following is a quote from the introduction of the ECMA script standard. For those accustomed to other multimedia and interactive content development, JavaScript enables some basic functions that have been missing in the HTML environment. For instance, examples later in this lesson will show you how to create more dynamic forward-back controls, how to include immediately customized pages with user input, or send alerts to users as they perform certain actions. You may have visited sites that have this functionality without JavaScript, but in each case, it has probably required some interaction with scripts and/or databases which reside on a server. JavaScript can keep most or all of the processing on the client side, therefore appearing faster and saving bandwidth. Because all browsers do not support JavaScript and because it is a rapidly evolving language, you will not want to use any JavaScript-based function without providing alternative pages that do not require JavaScript, unless you can be absolutely certain of browsers and versions in your target audience. This topic will not present all the capabilities or applications of JavaScript. It will present some examples of basic functions and uses, preparing you to put JavaScript to work as part of dynamic HTML, DHTML. JavaScript is an object-based computer language, so it looks a little different from traditional procedural languages such as C and Pascal. Programmers describe data and procedures in terms of objects, methods, and properties. Here we describe few of the specialized terms JavaScript programming uses. Client. In terms of web-based applications, a client is the computer running a web browser. Web pages are loaded from web servers to web clients when they're displayed. Event handler, a special attribute that associates an object with an event. For instance, you can associate a button with a mouse click by using the onClick event handler. Function, a named set of JavaScript statements interpreted all at once by calling the function name. JavaScript has several built-in functions, but you can extend the list by writing your own. For instance, one particular incarnation of an object, for example, while president may be an object, Bill Clinton is an instance of president. Similarly, a web page button is an object, but my calculate button is an instance. Method, an action that a particular object can perform. Methods are implemented just like functions, but they're always associated with a particular object. Object model, a group of objects that work together for a common purpose. The JavaScript object model comprises all the elements that make up a web page. Object. Anything, idea or concept is an object. Object-based languages like JavaScript make it easy to model and work with real-world objects such as web pages and web page elements. Objects are typically nouns. For example, window, document, and image are all JavaScript objects. Property. A one-word attribute that describes an object. For example, length, name, and target are all JavaScript properties. In JavaScript, an object's properties are defined by using the object's name, a period, and the property name. Furthermore, an object can contain other objects. For instance, a checkbox named pepperoni on a pizza order form might have its value referenced like this. As part of the computer-human interface, the operating system keeps track of things the user is doing. Where is the mouse at this moment? What is being clicked? Which keys are being pressed? These actions are known to the operating system as events. Using JavaScript, you can tell the web browser what to do when one of these events occurs. In the example below, you will not even need to create any special script. You will simply define the event, on mouse over, and the action to be taken, the event handler, as part of a regular HTML tag. On mouse over is exactly what the name implies. When the user moves the mouse over some object or text, a message is sent to the operating system that says on mouse over. The JavaScript-enabled web browser is watching these messages go by and is ready to perform the associated action. A new HTML tag has been introduced to allow for the inclusion of JavaScript or any other scripting language in an HTML document. This tag alerts the browser to the presence of script and identifies the type of scripting language so that the proper interpreter is used. For a browser to be able to handle a scripting language, an interpreter for that language must be built in. There is a current scripting language associated with Visual Basic called VB Script that also uses the script tag. Therefore, the language attribute of the script tag declares the type of language. The script tag is most often placed within the head tag so that the script is interpreted and loaded before the rest of the document. It is possible to use scripts throughout the document, though these are commonly designed to refer to functions handled by a script in the head of the document. Script tags are not understood by older browsers, those prior to the 2.x versions of Netscape Navigator, Internet Explorer, and Mosaic. Older browsers ignore the script tag, but most will try to display the script elements as regular text. Therefore, you may wish to hide your scripts by adding a standard comment tag surrounding the actual script elements inside the script tag. Here is what a script tag in disguise from older browser would look like. There is also a no-script tag in the new HTML4 standard that serves a function similar to the no-frame tag, providing an alternative display for browsers not enabled to run the script. The best current use for the no-script tag is to specify alternate content for browsers where the user has disabled JavaScript. The example shows a no-script tag. Instead of running the script, the browser will display the code within the no-script tag. There are many circumstances where you might customize a page with information from a user. JavaScript provides a way for you to prompt the user for information, then use that information to customize a page. You can use JavaScript functions to create this little piece of interactivity. JavaScript functions will appear as part of a script tag. The script tag can appear in the head or body tags. These functions and their parameters are the building blocks of JavaScript. You can also name and create your own functions. These functions can then be called to perform the specified action from other scripts in the document or by event calls, such as the onMouseOver event from the previous exercise. Another common place where feedback might be valuable is in forms. You may have fields in a form that the user is required to complete. Using CGI, you can have the user submit the form, have it processed by the CGI script, and returned to the user if the information is incomplete. This process takes up time and bandwidth, and it may even confuse the user. The ideal solution would be to evaluate the form before it is sent to the server, then send the user a message if there is a problem. Creating this alert is relatively simple using JavaScript. There are many reasons to automatically provide your users with content based on a given circumstance or response. You can do this with redirection. Normally, a server-side function, redirection, sends a visitor to a different page than the one originally accessed, usually transparently to the visitor. With JavaScript, you can create a page to handle redirection needs without the server. For example, say you have web pages that have been optimized for a particular browser. You would like to have MS Internet Explorer users to receive one page and Netscape Navigator users to see another. You can create a script that first identifies the browser as shown in the last exercise, then creates a page that provides a link to the appropriate content using the document_write function. It might look like this. In this example, the script checks for the browser name, navigator.appName, then associates an action based on this information using the if-else structure. So, if the browser name is Microsoft Internet Explorer, then the browser sets the value of the variable URL to msie.html. If the browser name is anything else, then the value of the variable URL becomes netscape.html. Then a link is created using the document.write function using the specified value. When clicked, the user would be served the appropriate page. Obviously, this does not account for all the possible browsers, but it does show some of the possibilities for creating responses transparently. You can take this a step further by asking the user for information, evaluating that information according to preset rules, then generating an appropriate response. You can establish requirements for acceptable responses, then use if-else structures as shown to determine an action. JavaScript can add new functionality to navigation through online content. Through HTML, the content developer writes all the links on the page. Though the user may use the back and forward buttons or the history lists of the Go menu to revisit pages during a session, the developer has no easy way to harness the power of the history list. Using JavaScript, you can now make more dynamic navigational tools available to your users. In addition to links that are hard-coded to specific destinations, you can include buttons or links that can help users to go back the way they came, allowing much more user control. This is especially useful in sites using frames, where the developer can help users stay on track. Creation of these links is done with a set of standard JavaScript functions: history forward, history back, and history go. History go takes a numerical value that represents how many pages the user will move backwards through the history list. The other two move one document forward or backward through the list. When a bridge was created between HTML documents and databases, the web came much closer to Tim Berners-Lee's vision of a means to rapidly share information in a variety of formats. Using a database as a back end and the web browser as a client has enabled powerful applications to be developed. But sometimes you don't need all that power. Perhaps all your users need is a way to look up a phone number. The creation of a database and the links to it may be more work than is required. JavaScript can create tables of information right in the HTML document that allow users to be served requested information. Though obviously not a solution for complex references or data that needs to be secure, it does provide a way to make small sets of data available. This data is first prepared as an array. Names are given to the items in the array, record 1 for example. Then those items are associated with an event, like the click of a button, or the result of a function, like the value of a variable.